Mackenzie Johnston with Cattle News Central, bringing you your December 13th cattle industry headlines. Brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors. They provide risk management programs to livestock producers all across the West. Whether we're talking about price risk or weather risk, Ag Risk Advisors, they're here to help. With current day market fluctuations, there is nothing more important than locking in a price floor on your cattle. So if you would like to learn more about an LRP, reach out to an advisor today. Also sponsored by Circle 5 Cow School. Whether you're wanting to learn how to preg check your own cows or wanting to implement artificial insemination into your herd, Circle 5 Cow School, they're the way to go. They host remote classes all the way from Tennessee down to Texas every week. If you'd like to view their schedule, head on over to circle5cowschool.com. That is the number 5 in there, or you can go ahead and just give them a follow on Facebook. And finally, Cross Diamond Cattle Company of Bertrand, Nebraska. They're going to be hosting their annual Red Angus bull and heifer sale today, December 13th, at the ranch near Bertrand. They're going to be selling 225 head of coming 2-year-old Red Angus bulls and 400 head of outstanding commercial bred heifers. I've been talking about this sale for a few weeks now. Top shelf Red Angus cattle, some of the best people to do business with in the industry. If you can't make this sale today, the sale is going to be on Superior and at DV Auction. And also, if you'd like to check out video last minute of everything that's going to be sold today, all the cattle, you can head on over to crossdiamondcattle.com. Over there, you can also check out the catalog for the sale. According to Meeting Place, last week during a virtual Investor Day presentation, Tyson announced that the meat giant is planning to open 12 new processing plants worldwide and increase its capacity by about 1.3 billion pounds over the next few years. These processing facilities include the case-ready beef and pork plant located in Columbia, South Carolina, another case-ready beef and pork plant located in Eagle Mountain, Utah, and fully cooked chicken plants in China, Malaysia, Thailand, and Europe. The 7 new international plants will increase Tyson's overseas capacity by about 30%, which is mostly fueled by growth in Asia. During its presentation, Tyson also noted that Asia is expected to account for about 64% of the growth in animal protein consumption in between 2020 and 2030. When we look at Tyson from an aerial view, when we look at the whole company, the meat giant has a weekly capacity of about 73 million pounds across all proteins. When you break that down on a weekly basis, that equates to the harvest of 47 million chickens, 155,000 head of cattle, and 469,000 hogs a week. From 2016 to 2021, Tyson's sales grew from $36.9 billion to $47 billion, with all of that growth coming from international channels. Also during the presentation, according to Reuters, Donnie King, Tyson's CEO, announced that the company will be spending more than $1.3 billion to increase automation in meat plants over the next 3 years. This decision has come about due to the labor shortage here in the United States that has limited production while demand has been increasing. Tyson expects this increase in automation to save the company more than $450 million by 2024. According to David Bray, Group President of Tyson's poultry division, the meat giant will increasingly use machines instead of people to debone chicken, one of its most labor-intensive jobs, and a position that has an incredibly high turnover rate. He went on to say that the company will invest $500 million to make this happen in between now and 2024, and that investment is expected to generate labor savings equal to more than 2,000 jobs. Tyson's profitability in the poultry sector has declined partially because of the labor shortage, which has led to processing plants running below capacity, as we all know. In fiscal year 2021, Tyson slaughtered about 37 million chickens a week on average. That accounted for 80% capacity utilization. The company plans to increase processing to 40 million birds weekly in fiscal year 2022, which will be 85% capacity. Eventually, Tyson would like to ramp up their kill to 47 million birds a week, which would put them at 98% capacity and put them in a better position to meet strong demand. While we're talking about beef packers, according to Reuters, The White House economic advisors have released a report saying that the big four meatpackers have used their market power in the highly consolidated U.S. market to drive up meat prices and underpay cattle producers. As a result, they have tripled their net profit margin since the beginning of the pandemic. White House economics advisors discovered that an earnings statement from the Big Four, which is Tyson, Marfrig, JBS, and National Beef, that statement showed a 120% collective jump in all of their gross profits since the pandemic and a 500% increase in net income. Additionally, the Big Four recently announced $1 billion in new dividends and stock buybacks on top of more than $3 billion they paid to shareholders, again, since the pandemic began. Some other numbers to consider: the Big Four's gross margins are up 50% and net margins are up over 300% since the pandemic. The economic advisors found that Tyson increased the price of beef so much, by 35%, that they actually made record profits while selling less beef than before the pandemic. Some interesting numbers to consider. The Red Angus Association of America has reported that last week they completed negotiations with USDA on the breed's live animals specification. As a result, at the request of each brand owner, Red Angus can now be included in Angus-labeled branded beef programs. USDA has finally acknowledged that Red Angus is in fact Angus, which will enable Red Angus and Red Angus influenced cattle that meet certain requirements to join black-hided animals in as many Angus brands as decided in favor of their inclusion. It's about time. And finally, some interesting numbers to leave you with this morning. According to the Labor Department, inflation accelerated at its fastest pace since 1982 in the month of November. Where we stand today, compared to a year ago, energy prices have increased 33.3%. Gasoline, it's up 58.1%. Food prices have increased 6.1%, and used vehicles have increased 31.4%. I hope you all had a great weekend. Have a wonderful Monday. I'll see you later.